I don't see AppSug up there anymore.
I do.
It's there, Stan. Look carefully.
It's got the doggy in the palm tree.
There it is. Okay. It dropped off my screen.
I see a gentleman, David Beckman. We haven't seen you before, David. Glad to have you with us.
See what this is all about. Thank you.
How did you hear about us?
In the handout, from somebody told me about it a couple of years ago, but we finally moved in about 3 weeks ago, so now I'm paying more attention.
Gotta go put my hearing aids in.
You said the handout. Is this are you at Wesley Palms?
I'm at Wesley Palms, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. We have had several people from Wesley Palms. As you know, we used to have a meeting there.
Well, I thought this was all Wesley Palm, so I don't really know what this is about exactly. Guess I'll find out.
Well, our president, Stanley Follis, can tell you all about it.
We're totally Zoom oriented nowadays. No in-person visits.
Okay.
Weekly on Saturday at 10:30 a.m.
We got into the habit during COVID, and then we started picking up people from, farther away. And when we decided, well, should we meet again in person? They said, no, I don't want to drive 20 miles to get to your meeting. I just want to sit in my office and be here.
Yeah, better.
In my pajamas.
Or in your avatar as you are right now.
Yeah, then you can't see my pajamas. Actually, today's very formal. I got up and got dressed. It's only 7:30 here in Hawaii.
And we appreciate you putting on that tuxedo, Hank.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I think we're verging on TMI.
Too much information. Okay. Are you recording, Saul?
I am recording, and I also have the video queued up.
Okay, I will. No, I'm all set to play the video. I'm just not sure whether I've been bumped. I think I was bumped, but I don't know why, because the last couple of weeks I have turned off my video, and that has kept me from being bumped. Well, in any it's 7:34. I'm about to mute everybody and then start the presentation. And I will have some things to show on my Google Drive, on my 2 Google Drives, because I run Google Drive for me, and then I run Google Drive for the seniors computer group. And I'll show you what I put on there and how easy it is and how handy. So let me go find this week's, here we go.
And Hank, before you start the video, if you could just pause it and make sure that we get rid of all the gray boxes and stuff.
What I didn't do last week when I disappeared. Okay, sharing screen. Picking the right place to share. Optimizing for video, sharing sound. Sharing. Bah humbug. I can't find the, let's see, I'm going to turn this one off. Blocking that. And I can't block this.
What is it?
It's my Zoom taskbar.
It's the floating controls when you're sharing the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, if you go to the right end, there's a drop down and it will be a choice to hide that floating meetings control bar.
Yeah, you're right. Share sound, optimize for video clip.
There's
No.
also a keyboard shortcut if you'd like that.
Wait a minute, I'm looking for the one that says,
Should have the word hide in it.
what?
Should have the word hide, H-I-D-E, in the choice.
Share sound, optimize for video clip. Selection. Nope.
Okay, let's go with the keyboard shortcut, shall we?
Sure.
It's 4 keys. It's Control, Alt, Shift, and the letter H for hide.
It's gone.
Okay, now we have okay, I think you're good.
Yeah, it just said that I had done that for a little bit. Now I need to.
Hi everyone, Kevin here. Today,
Where are the?
You can either
I'm not sure, but I don't think the Pineapple Express is expressing very well.
Well, I think Hank got bumped the second time today, so we'll see.
Okay, I'm back to unmuted. I've gone back. I've gotten rid of the avatar. I've been bumped twice this morning, so we'll see. And I'm recording again. And now what I need to do is to get out of full screen.
Press the escape key.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not in. Here we go. I want to go to full screen. There. Okay, now let's see if I can go back to sharing the screen. There we go. And got to get rid of the little. It was Control, Alt, Shift, and what? H?
H for hide.
Yeah, okay. Control, Alt, Shift, H. And press Escape to show floating meetings. There we go. All right, here we go, everybody. Everybody can see that well enough?
Yes, it looks good.
Here we go.
Today, I want to show you how you can both get and also use Google Drive. First off, what is Google Drive and why would you ever want to use it? Google Drive is a cloud storage provider. If you've ever used Apple's iCloud or Microsoft's OneDrive, this is Google's version of it. But still, what does it mean to be a cloud storage provider? Well, typically when you work on, let's say, a document on your computer, you'll save it on your computer, so you have a local copy. With Google Drive, you can save it on Drive, and that's basically Google's computer, so you're saving it elsewhere. Now, Google doesn't call their computers computers, they're called servers, and they keep them in data centers all over the world. But you might be wondering, why would I ever want to do that? What are the benefits? Well, there are many benefits to storing files in Google Drive. First off, your files are backed up. So let's say something were to happen to your computer at home. Well, when you store it in Drive, there are many copies on many different servers all over the world. Another benefit, you can access your files wherever you are. Let's say you're traveling, maybe you're in Europe, maybe you're in Africa, wherever you happen to be, if you could get onto the internet, you can get to your files. Also, another benefit is Google's really good at search. That's what they're known for. Now, with Google Drive, you can search for anything. It could be text within a photo. It could be just a description of a photo you took. It could be for specific files. Their search will get that file extremely fast. Lastly, and one of the biggest benefits of working on files that you have stored in the cloud is that you can work with others on that file. In the past, if you wanted to work with others, you'd have to email to them, then they'd email it back, and then you'd probably get different versions. With Google Drive, you simply share a link, and then you can all work on the same file together. So there are lots of benefits to working in the cloud. Why don't we jump on the PC now and see how we can start taking advantage of Google Drive. You can access Google Drive across all of your different devices. You can get it on the web, on your PC, and on mobile, and I'll briefly show you how you can get it across all of these different devices. By far, one of the most popular ways to access Google Drive is on the web. To access Drive on the web, you can simply type in drive.google.com, and that will drop you directly in Google Drive. Alternatively, when you're on any Google product on the web, up in the top right-hand corner, you have what's called the waffle menu. See, it kind of looks like a waffle. When you click on that, this shows you all of your different Google apps. There's one over here called Drive. It kind of has a triangle icon. You can simply click on that. If you want quicker access in the future, you could also click on the icon and drag it to a more prominent position. There, now it's even easier to get back to Google Drive. You can also install Google Drive on your PC. The benefit of this is you can access all of your Google Drive files from a folder on your PC. You can also set up your PC to synchronize files and folders with Google Drive automatically. To get the backup and sync tool, simply go up to the top right-hand corner and click on the Settings gear. Within the Settings gear, click on Get Drive for Desktop. On the next page, scroll down and you'll see a download option for the Backup and Sync tool. Later on in this tutorial, we'll walk through how backup and sync works. Lastly, you can also get Google Drive on your phone. If you use an iPhone, head to the App Store. If you're on an Android phone, head to the Play Store. Within the App Store, I'll click on Search, and within the search field, simply search for Google Drive. Once you finish searching for Google Drive, here you'll see a result for Google Drive. If you don't have it yet, you could click on Install. In my case, I already have it, so I'll simply click on Open. Here we are now in Google Drive on the web, and this is likely the interface that you will end up using most often. And by the way, congratulations, you now have your very own cloud storage account. In the introduction, it might have sounded a little bit intimidating, but it's actually really easy to set up. Now within Google Drive, likely the first thing that you'll want to do is to put one of your files into the cloud, so you can start taking advantage of all of those benefits that I called out. And by far the easiest way to get a file into the cloud is to simply select a file from your computer, and then you could simply drag and drop it into Google Drive. Here I have a Word document, and I'll let go of it, and here you see it uploads now into the cloud. Along with uploading individual files, maybe you have an entire folder that you'd like to put into Google Drive. Well, you can upload it the exact same way. Here I have a folder from my PC, and once again I'll simply drag and drop it onto Google Drive, and here it'll upload the entire folder into Drive. Getting content in is very easy. Up in the top left-hand corner, I also have this big and prominent New button. When I click on this, here too I can upload an individual file, and I could also upload a folder. So just another way to get content up. I don't just have to start working from existing content on my PC. Down below, I could also start new blank documents, sheets, slides, and there are many other types of Google content that I could start creating. Now, let's say I don't want to create a blank document. I could also hover over this arrow and I could start from a template. Up on top of this menu, there's the option to create a new folder. Just like any other file manager, you can use folders to organize all of your content. I'm going to go ahead and create a folder. This opens up a prompt to name my folder. I'm going to call this Financials. Once I'm all done, I'll click on Create. Here now, I see my new folder. To organize content, just like any other file manager, I can click on one of my files and press and hold, and I can drop it in folders to start organizing content. Along with the new menu, I can also simply access it by right-clicking. When I right-click, this opens up the same exact menu. So once again, Google makes it extremely easy to get your content into Google Drive. I now have many of my different files showing up within Google Drive. The benefit is these files are now backed up and I can access these from anywhere. One of the other massive benefits of Google Drive is I can very easily get back to any of my files. And the first way to do that is using the search field up here. When I search, I could search for content within files. And it's not just limited to documents. I could search within PDFs and also within images. Here, for example, I have a PDF with the text FY21Q1. When I search, here I see both a document and a PDF, so it could search within PDFs. Back on the search results, let's say that I wasn't able to find what I'm looking for. Over on the right-hand side of the search field, I can expose additional search options, and here I could set different filters to help me find the file that I'm looking for. Search is all well and good, but sometimes you don't know exactly what you're looking for, and that's where quick access comes in. This surfaces all of the documents and all of the content that's most relevant to you. So let's say that maybe someone just shared a document with you, or maybe you open a document a lot. Google looks at all of these different signals of how you interact with your documents, and then it recommends the most relevant documents to you. And here I see this PDF file. I just opened it and I probably want to go back to it. Here I see it's in the first position of quick access. So once again, these are benefits with search, quick access that you wouldn't get with just documents on your PC. Down below, I see the core of the Google Drive experience. Here I see all of my different files and I see all of my different folders. And just like we looked at before, I could organize, drag and drop the files wherever I want to organize this view how I want it. Along with being able to organize the files, I can also adjust this view to help me find what I'm looking for. Here, for instance, right now it's organized by the name. I can also organize it by last modified if I'd rather see it in a different sort order. I could also change the way all of these files are visualized. Up in the top right hand corner, I can toggle between the list view, which I currently have, and the grid view, which is a more visual way of getting back to your files. Within Drive, if I select one of my files, I'll see additional controls appear across the top. Let's briefly walk through what you can do with these. The first one is Get Link. This allows you to generate a link that you can then share with others so they can also access the file. Down below, you can set permissions on the file. Right next to that, there's also another way you could share a file, and you can share with specific individuals. Now, you could toggle back and forth between getting a link and then also sharing with people or groups. Here too, when you click on the settings gear, you could set your permissions on the file when you share it. Once I share a file with someone, here I'll see the shared icon appear next to the title, indicating that this file has been shared. Back on top and next to the sharing icons, I also have the option to preview a file. Not only can I preview a file, but I have some additional controls. I can comment on a file, I could print it, or I could download the file back to my PC. Moving along, I can also remove a file if I want to delete it, and then I have a context menu with additional actions that I can take on a file. The last icon up here is the details icon. When I click on there, I could see all the details related to the file, and most importantly, I could see all of the activity. Right now, I just uploaded this file, but once I start sharing it and working with others, additional activity will show up in here. Once again, Google Drive provides many different ways to get to the most popular actions. Here, when I have the file selected, I can go up here, but I can also simply right-click on the file, and this will show a menu with additional actions. Now, some of the more interesting ones in this list, I can add it to starred, and when I add it to starred, it'll show up within the starred category. In a moment, we'll take a look at how that works, and for now, I'll simply star the file. Back within the menu, I can also manage versions. Let's say that I'm working with others on, let's say, a document or a presentation. I can go back to previous versions if, let's say, some changes happened that I didn't want. Just like with files, I can also select a folder and then right-click on the folder, and that'll expose a similar context menu. Here too, I could star folders, and interestingly, I could also change the color to help me find this folder more easily. For folders as well, I can even go ahead and share an entire folder. So let's say I'm working with a team and we all want to share files with one another. I can set up a folder, and then I could share the folder with others, and we could all drop our files there. Now that we've looked at some of the core file management capabilities, let's shift our attention over on the left-hand side, where we have these different views. By default, I'm in the My Drive view, and the My Drive view shows me all of my content. So here I see my main root folder, or the main My Drive view, and underneath that I see all of the subfolders that I have. Now down below I have an option called Computers. This will only show up if you set up the Get Drive for Desktop app. Otherwise you won't have the Computers option. This allows you to see any of the files that you've synced onto Drive from your computer. The next option is Shared with Me, and just like the name implies, I can see any folders or any files that others have shared with me on this list. Now, one of the nice things is you might have files in here that have been shared with you, but you want to be able to see that file within your My Drive view. What's nice here is I can simply right-click on an option, and within here I can add a shortcut to Drive. This opens up a prompt, and I can define where I want the shortcut to show up. I'll add it to My Drive and then click on Add Shortcut. When I go back to the My Drive view, here I see the shortcut to this shared folder. So in a sense, it's almost like having my own folder. This is especially helpful if, let's say, you're working on a group project and all of you are contributing to one folder. You can have everyone add a shortcut to that folder within their My Drive view. That way it's extremely easy to access. Under Shared with Me, there's the Recent view, and this shows me all of the recent files that I've interacted with. So whether it's because I opened a file, maybe I uploaded a file, or maybe I modified a file, anytime I interact with a file, it'll show up on this recent list. Now you'd be surprised, but typically when you're working on files, you'll go back again and again to the files that you've worked on recently. This is an extremely valuable view. Next, we have the starred view, and any file or folder that I star shows up here. So this is in a sense like pinning a document. If it's say a document or a file that you go back to often, you can star it. That way you have easy access to it. The last view I have here is my trash, and when I click on this, I can see all of my different folders and files that I've recently deleted, and after 30 days they'll be automatically deleted, but here too I could also empty the trash proactively. At the very bottom, I can also look at my storage, and when I click into storage, I get this helpful view showing me what files are using up most of my storage. Now, one thing that's interesting, you'll notice that PowerPoint files, Word documents, or graphics, they all consume some of my storage space. However, all of the Google file formats, whether it's docs, sheets, or slides, you'll notice that they use up 0 bytes. I've always thought it would be interesting if I simply created presentations with all of my photos. That wouldn't use up any Google Drive space. Now that we've looked at how you can use Google Drive on the web, I also want to show you how you can use Google Drive on your desktop with the Backup and Sync app. Once you install the Backup and Sync app, you'll see a few extra things on your desktop. Here, I have a new folder called Google Drive. When I click on this, this will show me all of the different files that I have in Google Drive, and I can access all of them directly from my desktop using File Explorer. I also have another folder called Marketing Flyers, and I've set this up to sync with Google Drive. You'll see a green check mark here, and this indicates that this folder is also synced in Google Drive. Along with the folders on my desktop, I also have a new icon in my system tray for the Backup and Sync app. When I click on this, I can see all of the files that have synced with Google Drive. When I hover over, I could very quickly share those files just like I could on the web. Up above, I have some quick shortcuts to view all of my Google Drive files in File Explorer. I can also view them on the web or within Google Photos. When I click on the ellipses, let's go down to Preferences to see what we can do there. Within Preferences, I can define what folders that I want to sync with Google Drive. Here earlier, I showed you my Marketing Flyers folder, and there was this green check mark here. Here I've indicated that I want to sync this folder with Google Drive. Over on the left-hand side, I could also click on Google Drive, and here I have it set up so whatever files I have in Google Drive also get synced with my computer. So before I walk through a few different ways I could get files into Google Drive by dragging and dropping or simply creating on the web, instead I can also have Google Drive do all of that for me, and whatever files I have on my computer will be automatically synced with Google Drive, so I really don't have to do anything to back up my content. Lastly, I want to show you how you could use Google Drive on your phone. Here I have Google Drive open open, and it's mainly focused on getting back to and viewing files. Here at the top, I have access to Drive Search, and just like on the web, I can very quickly and easily find whatever file I'm looking for. Here I have the quick access where I see some of the files that I've recently interacted with. Down below, I can view all of my starred files right here, so just another way to get back to the files that I care about. I could also click on Shared With Me, and here I get a quick view of all of the files that have been shared with me. Lastly, if I click on Files, this is the My Drive view where I can see all of my files directly within the app. So this is another nice way to get back to your files regardless of where you are, just using your phone. Alright, well that was a quick look at how you can start using Google Drive. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. To see more videos like this in the future, please hit that subscribe button to sync this folder with Google Drive. Over on the left hand side, I could also click on Google Drive, and here I have it set up so whatever files I have in Google Drive also get synced with my computer. So before I walk through a few different ways I could get files into Google Drive by dragging and dropping or simply creating on the web, instead I can also have Google Drive do all of that for me, and whatever files I have on my computer will be automatically synced with Google Drive, so I really don't have to do anything to back up my content. Lastly, I want to show you how you could use Google Drive on your phone. Here I have Google Drive open, and it's mainly focused on getting back to and viewing files. Here at the top, I have access to Drive Search, and just like on the web, I can very quickly and easily find whatever file I'm looking for. Here I have the quick access where I see some of the files that I've recently interacted with. Down below, I can view all of my starred files right here, so just another way to get back to the files that I care about. I could also click on Shared With Me, and here I get a quick view of all of the files that have been shared with me. Lastly, if I click on Files, this is the My Drive view where I can see all of my files directly within the app. So this is another nice way to get back to your files regardless of where you are, just using your phone. Alright, well that was a quick look at how you can start using Google Drive. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. To see more videos like this in the future, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to see me cover any other topics in the future, leave a comment down below. Alright, that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Okay, yep, I am not muted. And that's it. I think I will show you how I use Google Drive for the seniors computer group in particular. And so I am going to back to share my screen. Let's see. Let's see if that works. No, not very well. Stop sharing and go back to Nope, that's a PDF. It's not what I want to show. Wonder why I cannot seem to find.
Hank, were you planning to show us through a web browser or through the Google Drive app on your computer?
Through the web browser.
So you should be able to open up whatever the Google Drive in your web browser, and that should be the content to share.
Yep, I should be able to do that. And then when I share, I am now sharing my web browser, which I'm sure you can see.
Yes, we see, but you just are on the wrong tab of the web browser.
Yeah, I know. So how do I get to show my tabs?
Are you in full screen in YouTube right now?
No,
Can you see your tabs?
maybe I am.
Files directly within the app. So this is another nice way to get back to your
No,
files
I'm back at
regardless
the-
of where you are, just using your phone.
I'm back at
Looks like he froze up again.
Yeah, he may have.
If I may say a few words while we're trying to work this out. When I took over as president, I tried to implement Dropbox, where a file would be maintained on Dropbox. Everyone would have access to it and work through that. And of course, people were reluctant to put the file that they were working on, whether it was accounting or database or website, on Dropbox and not have control over it. So that idea did not work. So I'm wondering, how does Google Drive make it so that SCG can have a Google Drive where everybody can see the database, for instance, or the county program, and be able to have access to it? And if that's not a way to use a shared offsite drive, what does Google Drive offer SCG in the way of file sharing?
Well, I think Hank's going to demonstrate what he uses it for.
Right, but he doesn't give us access to it, so that if he should become incapacitated, somebody else could step in and take over that task, as I understand it. I may be wrong on that.
I understand, Stan. It's just a different question.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Here I am on my Google Chrome browser. And when I click New Tab, and then, are you seeing this now?
Yes.
Okay, and now I click what I call the tic-tac-toe box. I forget what they called it. And here is Drive. When I click Drive,
Well, we're having technical difficulties today.
yep, I got bumped again. Let's stop sharing my video and maybe it won't get dumped again.
Good plan.
And now let's start sharing again. And there. Now here is one of my 2 Google Drives. This is the one that I use for my stuff. And for example, if I click on the Hanks Mini Seminar one, you should see, yeah, you should see my complete list of Hanks Mini Seminars.
We do.
And if I want to go there and put in a new mini seminar, I can go over here and type B21 and put something else in. And when I get over to the right, I can right click and it allows me to install a link to a new mini seminar if there were one. But if you go to the Seniors Computer Group drive, you see that when I hover over my avatar or face up here in the upper right corner, I get 2 places. So if I left click on that, I can go from Hank Drayton's, which is for my Gmail email address, or I can go to Seniors Computer Group's Gmail address, which I established. And when I click here, it changes. Oops, at least it's supposed to change. Yeah, I'm into the Seniors Computer Groups.
Hank, if you go over to the far left, you know, there's that sort of hamburger menu. See what that shows you.
Huh.
Because you're right there and it says H is Seniors Computer Group information or something.
Yeah, Senior Computer Group info, YouTube videos shown at Seniors Computer Group.
Unless you're just down a level in navigation and need to go higher up.
This is an outline of the Hanks Mini Seminars. So okay.
So Hank, do you have 3 Google Drives?
No, I have 2.
What he's showing you, Will, is the quick access that was shown in the video that he played. It's like recent documents.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see how I.
If you go to the hamburger menu or waffle menu, as the person in the video called it, the 9 dots, and you go to drive from there, there's my drive over on the left.
Yep, and I'm back to, I think, my drive.
You're
Yeah.
in the Senior Computer Group drive now.
Yeah, here's a senior computer group board and business meeting minutes of the 3rd March. So this is the seniors computer group's drive.
And over on the left, on that menu, there is one for computers, and maybe that's where you wanted to take us or not. You want to be in the web browser, or you want to be on the app.
I want to be on the web browser.
So it's My Drive, the first choice, and you could click on it and it would drop down and show you the folders that you have.
And all the recordings, I think, of
Doesn't look like he has
I'm gonna
full.
quit. I think I'm going to quit trying to show you and go back to.
Well, if you go into My Drive and just click on that, see if there's any. No, the one further to the left. Further to the left. Yeah, where it's highlighted in blue.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, just look. No, down where you were. Yeah, right there. Right there.
Okay.
That's where he is right now.
Just saying, I wonder if it would expand open and see if there are any folders. It looks like there's one folder,
Yeah, there's one folder that was created.
the tax status folder.
Mhm.
Okay, where's the folder? I don't in the
Up at the
list
top
at the top.
there.
Yeah, the first item in the list.
Is a folder. Yeah.
Tax status of seniors computer group. This
Yeah,
one?
and I don't see any other folders. Do you have folders set up in here for SCG?
No.
Okay, so you're looking at everything you got, all the files.
Yeah. And it should say SCG recording of.
Try search. That's what it's for.
Which is
Just a little over to the left.
Just
Where
above
you-
My Drive.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
little further to the right.
And then up at the top.
And that
Above
where it
My
says
Drive.
search in Drive. It's a field to type into. To the right of the drive.
Oh, here we go.
There.
Yes, you're right.
Recordings. Yeah.
ORDING. Yeah. No.
Well, maybe those are in your Google Drive account and not in the SCG Drive account.
I don't think so, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Try the-
look.
Try
Let's
the
look
no,
over
try
to
the other.
one.
Yeah. Now look for recordings. Upload recordings here.
Nope.
Why don't you try pressing enter and see what happens?
Well, maybe they're not in here. As a matter of fact, the recordings are in YouTube, and the link on the website links to the YouTube recording directly, not to Drive. So the only things in here, let's go back to the seniors computer group. The things in here that happen all the time are minutes. See, there's a minutes meeting for the 3rd of March. Here's one for the 2nd of February. And you're probably ought to put those all in folders, a folder of SCG minutes. Put all those in there.
In
Okay.
this window, how can you tell what email account you're in?
You
Right
go
there.
and click on the avatar for me, and there are two. There's one here that's Seniors Computer Group, and the other one here is Hank Drayton. and whichever one is matches over here. So if I click here to shift it to the Hank Drayton drive, then when it comes up, it has my photo over here.
And when you were there initially and you had that exactly where you are now, where the Hanks mini seminar is, that was a Google Doc. And it was in your Gmail account, not the Seniors Computer Group Gmail account.
That's correct. And here's one that I use. Let me double click on that. Here's one that I use every week. I track a whole bunch of ETFs, exchange traded funds, to pick which ones to buy in my brokerage account. And every week I pull up this, I guess this is called a sheet, isn't it?
Correct.
Yes.
I pull this up, and if you set up this particular thing in Google, in Excel, you can make this side over here.
Okay, if I may, I would like to interrupt and propose that we move on. We've been going for 50 minutes.
All right.
I'd like we move on to Q&A.
Anyone object to that? Okay, we've moved. You're up, Will.
Okay, just had a question on this Google Drive, though. How much space are you allowed to have in it? Is there a limit?
No?
It's
Just a minute.
initially 15 gigabytes.
Yep. And
And then you can buy more, I presume?
You betcha.
Okay.
They would love that.
Yeah,
Well,
I find this interesting. There are
you
some
go.
other people and I that are editing a book, and this looks like it'd be perfect for doing collaboration on editing a particular book.
Now, how do I want to answer this question. How do I get out of where I am and back to the basic drive?
Are you saying how do you stop sharing your screen, or how do you navigate to wherever you want to go back to the drive?
I want to navigate to how I get back to my drive.
Can you go back in your browser just like you would on a page in a browser?
I think it's been opening up new tabs, and so I see like
Yeah.
3 or 4
In that case,
tabs.
yeah, then just close the
Yeah.
tab. Yeah, if it's in a new tab, just close the tab if you don't want it, or just go back to the tab where you have
Yeah, here
right
we
there.
go. All right, I closed the tab. To answer your question, for example, I have been using this for years and years, and this is my drive, my Google Drive. I am up to 10 gigabytes of the 15 allotted. And let's see, when you click here, I think it said, yes, this shows you what.
Yeah, how much storage for each thing, you know.
These are a bunch of MP4s or a bunch of videos. Videos take up a huge amount of room. This one is 702 megabytes. And if I double click on that, you will see what it is. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry. Personal. Next is the video. Next.
So I think Stan wants to intervene again.
Yeah, we want to move on.
We're
I
moving
would
on.
like to move on to Q&A, and if
We are moved on to Q&A. We'll go ahead.
Okay,
it didn't sound like we had moved on to Q&A.
That was because someone objected to moving on and asked a question about the video.
that
You-
was I.
Job over, Will, or Stanley. Would you like to be the vice president for programs every Saturday morning? wherever I am at whatever hour it is, so that we're doing 10:30 a.m. San Diego time. Push me one more time and you be it.
Please
We're
expect
we're
my
in Q&A.
profound apologies. I
We're in
don't want
Q&A.
anybody else's job unless somebody wants my job. Okay,
Oh.
my question is, I have Google Calendar working very well on my computer and on my phone. And then yesterday, my active Google Calendar on my phone was gone. It is still active on my desktop and everything is there. And that puzzles me. I'm wondering if the combined wisdom of the group might help me solve that problem.
Dan, when you say gone, does that mean you can't even get to the calendar or that it's empty?
Let me be more clear. I open the calendar and nothing is active there except the phases of the moon, the national holidays, and such as that, the default settings of my calendar. I can see the calendar on the phone, but it does not have my calendar on it. David says something.
I'm wondering, did you log out of your Google account?
Did I do what to my Google account?
Is that app logged out of it? It needs to know, it needs to be logged into your Google account in order to get your data. And so if it somehow got logged out, it would not be logged in. So, just like Hank had his little avatar in the corner, we need to make sure that you're actually logged into your account.
Well, I still get email. I still do everything else with Google Maps, everything else relating to Google works on my phone. It's just the calendar doesn't.
Is there a synchronization required?
Yes,
I know.
but
On mine, I see my little avatar up there. Does yours have your avatar in the corner?
all right, just a minute. Let me go off the background.
In the past, they've always told me
Now,
just
here's my phone.
back in.
Here's my phone. If I touch calendar, this is what it looks like.
Stan, if you could go into, say, Google Chrome web browser on your phone to google.com and see if your avatar shows up as logged in.
Okay, I have an iNet, internet, and Chrome. I go to Chrome on my phone.
Just look at it and tell us if when you go to google.com, do you see your avatar as signed in?
Yeah, in the upper left corner is my little picture with my beard.
Upper right, you mean?
On upper right
The
here,
phone, it's on the upper left. Okay.
upper left, correct, yes.
David, what do you think?
Are you, we
Well,
never
yeah.
heard the answer in your calendaring program. Are you seeing that same avatar?
Yes, same place.
Same place. Well, for my business customers, the only one that I support is Outlook. The reason to support only Outlook is because that's the program that you're using on your desktop where the mail is and calendar and contacts are all within the one Outlook program. So when you put Outlook on your phone, again, you've got one program to handle all of those features. When you are in any other device, Android or Apple, there is a separate application for contacts, a separate application for mail, a separate application for calendar. So I would agree that yes, there is some issue with the calendar not signing in and seeing what your information. Other than a Google search, I don't know, but I have fought this problem quite a bit. And again, at this point, the only one that I will support is Outlook. Now, for your phone and a tablet, Outlook is free. For your desktop, you would have to purchase Outlook from Microsoft as the Office package. And if I remember, I think that you bought one, sir, that you have Outlook.
I may very well have it. I haven't implemented it.
Okay,
I want to work a little further trying to solve this problem before I switch to Outlook. I rightly or wrongly, I'm pretty well committed to Google.
so you don't have to go away from Google for your email, but again, you're using the Outlook program as a client to go get that information. So on your Outlook, on your telephone, then you would have all those features. So you don't have to go away from Google, other than go away from the Google app in Android. And unfortunately, as we get updates to the phones, those things can all change. And each flavor of Android has different issues with all those applications. Because if you use a Samsung phone, you're using Samsung's version of the Android mail and calendar and contacts.
Okay, I may look into that. Willie, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to check. Did you make any changes to your
Not
calendar
that I
settings?
recall. I might have pushed the wrong button inadvertently, but I
Yeah,
didn't intentionally make any changes.
Right. I mean, if you haven't upgraded either your Android operating system or anything else on your phone,
No, I haven't.
I think it's just a sync problem. Maybe if you just turn off both devices and reboot everything from the start.
So how do I resync? You say turn off the
Well,
device?
the sync comes from both sides, I believe. I mean,
Well,
your PC has to sync with your devices,
no, no.
your Google account.
no. So you're syncing straight to Google. So the synchronization is to Google. His desktop works fine.
Yeah, it sounds like his phone is not getting the information from Google.
So as was mentioned, you might look to see if you can see where the settings are within calendar to say, this is where I want your subscription is as such from your phone to Google for the calendar.
I'm lost.
Okay, so
Ross?
you,
Yeah, I was going to say it. I'm assuming you could use Google Calendar without it syncing,
yes,
and so you have to tell it to sync if you want it to.
Does it make any difference if I sync from the desktop? I mean, from the computer version of the calendar? The calendar is good on my computer. It's not good on my phone. Do I have to sync at the phone interface? Or
yes.
can I push from the computer interface?
So the master for all of that information is Google in the sky. That's where your email, calendar, contacts all are. They are synchronized back to the device, whether it's the desktop computer or your phone. So I think that, again, I don't know how to say calendar on an Android phone. This is where I want you to go look at your information, your account information.
Okay, let me see what Hank has. He's first up on a
Well,
hand.
Well-
David was waving his hand. He may have a
No, but
comment.
Hank had been up longer. I'm looking at the priorities of the hand raised. Hank,
Okay, thank you for a minute. Is anyone aware that you can have more than one calendar and turn that on? And if you have three, as I do, you can turn on one or two or all three so that you see them. And I'm talking about on your computer.
You can have multiple Google calendars. You can be invited to share, somebody else's Google Calendar with you, for instance, and accept it. And then you would have multiple Google calendars show up in your calendar.
For example,
I have one calendar that I rely on, and that's what I'm missing. Will, do you have an
here's
observation?
what I'm talking about. I'm just suggesting that maybe you have one of these turned off. You can turn them on and off by clicking. You see my calendars, I have 3 of them here, and I can turn any one of them on or off.
He can see them on his desktop. He cannot see them on
Yeah.
his phone.
Understood. I'll shut
And
up.
it's in the application, the calendar application versus the browser. I'm assuming if you go through the browser, your Chrome, that you will see your content, your calendar there, but that's not what you're asking about. The other option that you have is to call 611 and say, here's my issue. And they
Good
might be
idea.
able to help you.
All right. I'll call 611.
Stan,
All right, David,
I was just saying that I was looking on my phone and I had similar to what Hank was saying. You can turn on and off individual things. I would check on your phone, basically on mine, there's the little like, I think they call it the hamburger menu there. That's your settings. And check to make sure that you've turned events and tasks and reminders and holidays on or off. And because I can turn it off so I don't see it on my phone, even though I still see it in my browser. So I think those are separate controls.
where do you see the settings on your phone?
Okay, on my phone, that there's a little 3 bars menu. It should be,
You're within the calendar program on the phone, and you on the upper left-hand side, you're seeing the 3 bars.
yeah. And this is Google Calendar. And then you can tap that and it brings down a menu, and one of the things on the menu are which things to turn on.
If yours doesn't look like that, then yours is a different version of Android/calendar that you have, Mr. Stan.
Yeah, okay.
But
All right, Will, did you have anything to add? I didn't ask you. You had your hand up.
I use Google Calendar, but I used to use Outlook Calendar. But the problem I had with it was I wasn't able to print out a monthly calendar, and I apparently did it in the past, but I wasn't able to do it. And when I tried to do printouts, it gave me really weird printouts. Some printouts would have the information in it and some would not. So I gave up on it and switched to Google Calendar, but I haven't tried printing out Google Calendar. Can you do that on a monthly basis?
No, I print the calendar regularly.
Do you do a monthly
Yeah,
and from Google Calendar?
no, but that's not relevant to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, it is. We're talking about Google Calendar.
Okay, all right. I print the calendar. A part of the calendar on my desktop is a print function. And let me see. Okay, I'm going to share my screen if I can.
Will, if you're looking at this in a web browser, you can print anything from a web browser.
Okay, I'm just screen sharing is disabled. I will share screen if I can be enabled.
I've re-enabled.
Yeah, I know. Saul, I know I can print from it. I just couldn't print the monthly calendar. I
My
was not able
calendar
to do
now.
that.
We're not seeing what you're sharing.
You see that under the gear?
No, we do not see you sharing your screen.
Okay, now are you seeing my screen?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
All right. Now, here's a gear. And here's print. I click on print and it says print preview. And that's the month.
Okay.
And then I click print.
Okay, fine. Thank you. However, I wasn't able to do that with Outlook.
Which do you want to talk about?
Okay, back. to
I'm happy
Q&A.
with Google Calendar. Yeah.
Back to Q&A.
Okay.
I don't see any other hands up. Anybody else have problems with computers? If not, I'll pass it back to Hank. Oh, yeah,
Ross,
go ahead, Ross.
So in the last couple of weeks, I've been looking at whether or not to move away from LastPass. LastPass had an issue back October where a developer at home had a copy of all of the database that has the passwords, usernames, all of the information on his home computer. It was hacked into, and that database was copied out to the bad guys. The file that they took was encrypted. You can see the usernames, but you cannot see the passwords because the passwords are encrypted. So there's been a lot of discussion back and forth to say whether or not this is fixes the problem, where they hit there. What do we need to do to prevent a problem in the future? And should we get away from LastPass? I've been trying to stay with LastPass, but have decided, no, I'm going to go off to another program. And I've moved to Dashlane. From what I could look for security on there, it looks like a good one that's out there until Dashlane is hacked, which is probably going to happen in the future. But I'm going to change all of my passwords in that I was able to copy all of my passwords out of LastPass into Dashlane. And I'm going through my financial institutions first, and then we'll go through and edit the list and saying, I don't need to have these, and then get rid of them and change all the ones. My passwords are going to be all 13 characters or more, uppercase, lowercase, number, and special character, which will take it years and years and years for someone to crack with computer power. There's a link there that says if you want to try it for free for 6 months, you're able to do that. You do not have to give them a credit card to start the 6-month trial with Dashlane. I did hear, though, that there are lots of organizations, bad guys, that are collecting information now with encrypted information in it, be easily broken. But Mr. Gordon Moore from Intel passed away yesterday, and he came up with a comment that every 18 months, the computer power doubles for the same number of dollars. So it doesn't take very long for those numbers that we had for 1,000 years to be 500 years, to be down to 100 years, and to the point where they're going to be able to crack it. They figure most things within 10 years of the passwords that are out there now, the encryption that we have. But it's what we can do today. That's all I had to say on that.
Okay, thanks, Ross. Jim?
Yes, I've encountered a problem that I don't know if it's been ongoing, but in the past, I used to be able to look at different partitions in my computer. I had like a C partition and a D partition, and kept all of the system files and DLLs in the C drive. But now I no longer have the option of having other drives like a D drive. And I don't know whether something happened when I changed from Windows 10 to Windows 11, or if something happened when the cloud developed and some of my files and things go up into the cloud. So I no longer have on my computer a D drive. I just have a C drive, and it seems to be cluttering up my C drive. So something changed.
what happened? Are the things that were in your D drive still on your computer?
I don't have a D drive. I don't know what happened to them all, but if I go to a file folder, it just brings up, I think, a cloud, and it brings it down from the cloud, but I don't seem to have a partition on my actual computer where it shows different drives anymore.
What was in the D drive? File?
Just my files and photos. But
And
now
are
I
they
can
still
plug-
available to you?
That's what he's saying, no.
No, I can plug in a thumb drive, and it'll show as a D drive. But on the actual computer, I don't have a partition anymore for anything, except if I plug something into my USB port, then it will show a D drive.
Jim,
Yes,
when you're talking about the D drive, you're talking about in the file manager. Is that where you're looking at it? Have you
Yeah.
looked in the drive manager itself in Windows? Because it'll show you what partitions are on your drive.
I think I have. I don't know. This is kind of a new problem for me. And I think I went where you said, and it just shows a C drive and nothing else.
Most computers will have multiple partitions on them, partly because there's a boot partition for Windows, a recovery partition, the C partition, and so forth. If you're looking at that, that's where you would see if there's still a D partition or another partition for your data.
What was the, how do I get to there?
You can go to computer management or search for that, and within there, there'll be a drive. I think it might even be if you right click the start menu in Windows 10, maybe 11 also.
Well,
One of the
on
choices
11.
will be drive manager or something like that.
I
don't
think it's
remember what
called disk manager.
disk manager. Thank you,
I have
David.
disk manage. Okay, I'm on that, and I have disk management. And it shows a C drive, and where it says disk 0 partition. I have to expand that a little bit. It just shows a disk 0 partition, and there's 3 dots, and then it says disk 0 partition 4, partition 5, partition 6. I don't know what that means.
I
Well, it
think
means
Ross
there's
can,
3 partitions.
I think Ross can tell you how to add a D drive. Ross?
So at the bottom of that screen that you opened up under disk management, it should show you the physical drives in the computer. So mine shows a disk 0 and a disk 1. I have 2 physical drives, spinning hard disk in my, one solid state, one spinning drive in my hard disk. And it tells me on there what the drive letters are associated with those partitions. There are hidden partitions on the drive that Windows uses to start the system up. If you don't see one that's a D drive in there, then that's why you don't see it in the Explorer. If you see one, if again, you only have one physical drive in the computer, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And the partitions are how big? Mine says 50 megabytes for system reserve. C: is 900 gigabytes. And then I have a healthy recovery partition of 500 megabytes.
I have a split screen, and in the upper portion, like I mentioned, it has 4 or 5 entries. One is the C drive, and the others all say disk 0, and it says partition 4, 5, and 6. But down on the bottom of the split screen, it just shows 1, and it shows disk 0.
Yep.
And
So again,
think-
I have not heard where that D partition was. Usually that would, if that's a place that you're storing information on, that should have been a different physical drive in the computer.
I thought that the C drive, or the computer main drive, was split into a C and D and other partitions, but I can't seem to understand what happened to them.
Well, they're not, again, I understand what you're saying. So if all you're seeing is C, you're not seeing any other drive letters, then there are no partitions on that drive that your information is in, but you still only have one physical drive of C.
Yes.
if you sure you saw a D colon for a drive letter like you do when you plug in a memory stick, then something has happened to that partition table.
Is it possible to make a partition?
Yes,
Yes,
I have a program that I use for partitioning my hard drives.
Yes, and I use the same sort of things. Gparted is one that's a good one. You can use the ones from Microsoft to do that primarily also. I would be very careful when you do that. With disk drive prices being very, very inexpensive, adding another physical hard drive to the computer, even if it's a USB or a solid state drive that is plugged into a USB connection, you're much safer to say, this is where my D drive is going to be. And then from this utility of disk management, you can say, this one here is going to be D, this one's going to be E, and it will stay that way forever. When you unplug and plug in a memory stick, that's where the drive letter can change, where the system will say, well, today I'm going to call it J. And it's just, it can change it every time you plug that drive in. But through this partition program, the disk management, you can say, I want this to be drive X, and it will stay drive X forever.
Okay, so now I'm assuming that all of the information that I had is now up in the cloud. If I put in a thumb or a memory stick, can I bring the stuff out of the cloud? What's happening is that I'm getting overloaded on my C drive. It tells me that I'm running out of space, that I'm using, I have a 500 gigabyte drive it's on my laptop, and it says I'm using 476 gigabytes of my 500 gigabytes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's right. Everything is all together. And I wanted to get some more room because some things don't work because it says I don't have enough disk space.
Right.
Time to buy a new drive.
Well,
Yeah.
that and it's not so easy to add another physical drive to the computer. David, I see your hand up. It's not easy to add a physical drive to a laptop, but you can do it. But if you were to add an external drive of either a network appliance, which connects through the network cable, or a USB solid state drive, you can buy a 1 terabyte solid state drive that plugs in by USB for about $60. And those work well. You just leave that plugged in, and then you can move your information off of your C drive into whatever folders you want to have on the D drive.
Okay, that brings up the question. That is, if I utilize my plug in my USB port, can I put in a kind of a USB port that has multiple entries? Because my laptop only has one USB port. Can I put in a USB port that has multiple entries?
Yeah, they're called USB hubs.
Yeah,
you
okay,
can get them in the range of the cheapest ones have 4 connections on them. You take one from the computer, and then you have 4 now on this device, or 8 or 16, depending on what you choose. There are a number of them for less than $100 at Amazon. You can get them that have buttons on them.
I think I have one in my supplies, but can I, when I plug in the multiple ports and I plug in say more than one memory stick, will it give each one of those a different drive letter?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I'll work on that part of it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, David.
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to say, Jim, about that is you can check on your laptops, depending on how old it is or how new it is. It may have a port for a interior solid state drive. It's often called an M.2 port. And that way you can put another drive in there and it will show up. And when you first put it in there, you'd say, well, what drive letter you want to give it? And then you can get that and put in, a gigabyte, 2 gigabytes, 100 gigabytes, whatever you want on those things. But laptops, it's hard to replace the physical drive, but sometimes they'll have another port for putting in an extra drive. Both of my laptops and on my desktops, when I first got them, they had a big spinning drive. And when that was getting full and slow, I got a little solid state drive, put that in, copied my system onto that because it's fast. And then I use my other drive for all my slow data. And that worked out pretty well.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Hank,
Jim, it sounds to me like you didn't get a real answer as to whether this happened when you shifted to Windows 11, but I suspect that may have been, and what may have
I
happened.
think so.
The things that were in D have been moved into C because you're not missing things that just totally disappeared when D disappeared. And that's why your C is all clogged up right now, because everything that was in D is now stuffed into C.
I think that's what happened, but maybe it happened when I started utilizing the cloud. And
So when you speak of using the cloud, are you speaking of like using OneDrive?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, maybe not OneDrive, but I'm getting mixed up with the names, what they call them.
There's Dropbox.
No, it's not Dropbox. I
Okay.
think maybe it
And
is
Google Drive.
I do use Google Drive and then also OneDrive, is it?
Yes, OneDrive is from Microsoft, and they try to encourage you to use that.
I believe that's what it is.
It makes it, what it does is you basically designate saying these folders here, I want to be backed up to the cloud at Microsoft. But it doesn't give it a new drive letter. It's a new folder that you will find. But when you click on, if you say move my documents over there, then it will show when you click on OneDrive in your Explorer, those files. And when you click on documents in your computer, again, it will show you that are there. And it moves a copy of those to Microsoft.
But also sometimes if they're available when you're not on the internet, you still have a copy on your drive. It's still taking up space on your drive.
But I don't understand your question, and I don't have an answer for it, that you said you used to refer to this as a drive D. That I don't understand, because OneDrive does not work that way, where it assigns a new drive letter to a folder as such that you have created. That's another partition, and you didn't find that partition when we just looked at your drive table.
Right. I don't see any partitions. It was just something that I was used to, and maybe I hadn't gone there in maybe a number of years, just assuming that it was still there. And something changed over the years, and I no longer have any physical partitions, or not physical, but virtual partitions in my computer drive.
Did you possibly have a different hard disk different computer when you had that drive?
It's quite possible. It's just that so long since I went to that area on my computer that it looked different when I finally got there.
So it sounds as if you had gotten a new computer, and in that computer, you only had one physical drive. You didn't have another partition on a drive that was there. Then, and that information that was on that partition is still on that old computer in that partition. A lot of the programs, unless you're careful, when you're moving from one computer to the other, the information that you had does not get moved. There's a program I use called PC Mover that does that very well, and asks and says, okay, we see this is what your old computer has and this is what your new computer has. Where do you want me to put stuff?
I don't believe I lost anything. I think everything is still there, but it is all crammed into one spot.
Okay, so again, then you maybe have again. So a program like PC Mover or one of the other ones will say, okay, we see this is the arrangement on your existing computer. To make that all work on the new computer, here's what we're going to do. So if you had ones that are called documents or folders or pictures or something like that, it may have merged those into the same ones on your first partition on your computer.
I'll
Jim,
work on it. Thank you.
If you don't have an extra slot for an extra drive in your PC, I mean, in your laptop, then, find out if the manufacturer has larger drives, and then what I've seen happen is they take the larger drive, they put it into a USB thing, they copy everything from the old drive onto the larger drive, they take the larger drive and you replace that in your PC laptop, and it's now got a larger drive in your laptop if there's only one space for one drive. It's a bit of a hassle, but it'll keep your PC alive for another while.
So if, to me, it's if your computer is more than 3 years old, then it's time to buy a different one. And then you need to upgrade your saying, okay, I need to have a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte drive within the computer. Adding the one to the outside is very inexpensive. It is not very practical if you need to take that with you and you move your laptop a lot. But if you're saying my laptop stays home most of the time, you just leave that drive plugged in, and that's the best solution that you can just buy. Again, I wouldn't buy anything smaller than a 1 terabyte, and I would not buy a spinning drive. I would buy a solid state drive and plugged it in, and then you can say, we'll make one over here called Pictures, and you can just move things over. Now in Explorer, you can say, look here for pictures and look there for pictures. So you can change it so that when your normal Explorer program opens up and you click pictures, you see them all, no matter where they are.
So when I go to a external drive, and I take all the pictures from the cloud, and I can put them on a solid state external drive, do I erase them out of the cloud?
No. Well, when you say cloud, it's confusing me because you're not saying OneDrive. So it's kind of a question as to what it is.
Yes, it is OneDrive. When I mentioned
well, OneDrive is a copy of the information that's on your computer. So instead of copying, you may say move.
Okay.
Copy those items and move them to the older folder. Then it should move those out and over to the other drive. If you don't add that drive back to your OneDrive account, then they're not backed up at OneDrive anymore.
I understand.
Okay. Jim, do you have a USB 3 port on your laptop?
Yes.
Okay, then I was going to say, if you're only USB 2, you're in big trouble with a terabyte drive.
Yeah, I don't think my computer is more than 2 years old.
Yeah. That sounds like a good solution to it. Just add a USB 3 terabyte drive to the external. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions before we're getting to the magic hour? I don't see anybody else. I have one question before we go. We have someone on here by the name of Jane, but I don't have a last name. And unfortunately, Jane, we have more than just one Jane, so I don't know which one you are. Can you give us the last name?
Jane is muted. I am asking her to unmute herself.
It's R. It's R for Reinhardt. I've been on before.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next week, we will have a discussion about a free video editor, which is in Windows 10. For those of you who maybe used to use, what was it called? There was a
Photoshop?
No, it was
maybe the Movie Maker or something.
Yeah,
like
Movie Maker. That's what it was. And this is better. Okay, I don't have anything else. Does anyone else have anything?
Hey, I would just like to extend my welcome to everybody that's here. Thank you for coming and keep on coming. I will stay on as long as the meeting stays open if anybody has anything to talk to me about.
Okay, I will designate you the host.
Okay, whatever it takes. Thank you, Hank.
Jane, is it Jane Roush? Rousch?
I thought you said Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm trying to navigate on my phone to get to the mute and unmute. Yes, it's the second.
It's Reinhardt or Roush?
Correct. No, Reinhardt. Roush is the other one. She's not here today.
Okay, we also have a Jane Chartel who is on
No,
our
that's-
list too.
Nope, not even close.
Reinhardt.
Thanks. Thanks for the meeting.
And I would just say that for the video that Hank played today, which I think was an excellent video, but Kevin, who does that video, speaks rather rapidly. And so if you choose to want to go to YouTube and view that video, you can go to the little gear icon on settings and slow the speed down if you wish, if that helps you.
We saw Hank do that partway through, and actually it did make it easier to comprehend as you go through.
Yes, he was doing that toward the end of it.
And where do we get the link to that?
I think you could just search for Kevin, or I expect that Hank will post it on the SCG website shortly, within a day or so, and it should be among the many videos played for these meetings.
What
I was gonna
Kevin's last name?
Kevin's last
Stratford?
name.
Stratford.
Yeah.
Bradford?
Stratford.
Stratford.
I'll send you a link, Pat.
Or you can search for how to use Google Drive, because that was the name of it within YouTube. If you search there, I think you'll find it.
And Kevin Stratford.
Just kind of a quick question. You know, I've got the Mac, so I've got iCloud. Can we also use Google Drive? Because I
Yes.
also have a Dell. Okay,
Yes. Mhm.
I thought so. I just want to be sure. Thanks.
Okay, folks. See you next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And Stan, next time I see you, we'll have a look at your phone if your calendar hasn't come